Hello and good morning, Enchanted Sisters and friends, and everybody joining me here on this Wednesday morning. It is Wednesday, October 22nd. And yeah, it's autumn. We are here for Season of the Witch. This is the witchiest season of the year. I'm grateful to be here with you today. I have an icebreaker question, if you will. In the comments, I want to know, depending where you are in the world. So most people here are in the United States, but if you're, from somewhere else in the world, whatever country you're from, what is your favorite place to visit in your country? And like I said, most of us here are in the US. And I ask this question because I found myself wondering about where I would love to go explore next. So I thought, let's ask the question, get in here and say, where are your favorite places to go here in the US and inspire each other? Maybe somebody here will get some ideas, a vacation, an exploration for 2026. I see some Salem, Mass. I too love some Salem, Mass. I don't live too far. Lucky to be able to visit New Orleans. I've been there. Amazing. St. Augustine. I love St. Augustine as well. Excuse me. Savannah, the West Coast, Colorado Mountains, Zion. Ooh, some juicy ones in here. Some Jersey Shore. White Mountains in New Hampshire, Mary, I'm there with you. take me, take me there anytime. All right, I love this. I see some Chicago Forest Preserves, Finger Lakes, Sedona, Mystic, Connecticut. I too love Mystic. I don't live far from there. I'm there often. It's such a great place to spend some time. The Appalachian Trail. Yeah, any national park for sure. I'm a fan of Acadia in Maine. If you haven't been there, if you're on the eastern half of the country and you can get there, get there. 10 out of 10 recommend. All right. Well, some ideas for you in the chat here where y'all have been and ideas of places to explore for next year. The Maine coast, North Carolina mountains. So good. So good. Yeah, come south. I know. I want to go everywhere. I want to go everywhere. Okay. Well, there is a good I love the vibes here. We got a lot of mountains. We've got um Salem and the Witch City. If you go up to Salem, Mass, that is a wonderful area for, of course, Witch City, but also it's just a beautiful area for all things sort of seaside, coastal New England culture. And I love Gloucester, which is not too far from Salem. So if you make your way out there, add Gloucester to your list. And also not too far is the Lizzie Borden house, where you can do an overnight. I've done that a couple times and get spooky with it. So lots to do in New England if you make it up for a Salem trip. All right. Well, now that we got our icebreaker out of the way, we got some ideas flowing here, some places we'd like to see and go visit, put some on your bucket list. Let's get into our mission of this day, which is to talk about rhythm. So we are here for the Season of the Witch. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. In the comments, you've got Team TSE helping you out with any questions you might have and answer any logistical things. So if you need it, they can help you. We've got Naomi, Patty, and Anna in the comments today, and also lots of Sisters Enchanted alum and community members to come and support you with whatever it is that you need or want to share here in the chat area of today's live stream. All right. Well, on Monday, we started by talking about the good girl algorithm and the sacral curse. Yesterday, we went into the witch wound some more. We talked about trusting ourselves. We talked about that true love's kiss idea and how can we be our own true love's kiss. And all of that so far sets us up for this idea of rhythm and what rhythm has to do with anything and how we can find more enjoyment and delight in our personal seasons when we discover our own internal rhythm and pull from the lessons of the seasonal rhythm and the lunar rhythm. So, to kick us off with today's discussion, I have a little story for you. When I was in college, I had to take this math class, of course, math. And I was one of those kids who kind of was pretty easily able to get through high school, middle school, all that. Like it wasn't very hard for me to do school. I got to college and it was a little bit harder. And this math class was no exception. So I don't remember even like what it was. It was so long ago. I just remember that I was so afraid I was going to fail the class. And it was our final exam time. And final exams for the first semester of the year are always like mid December. My birthday's mid December. So for my whole college, I always had exams on my birthday. And I'm like, no, I'm going to fail this exam on my birthday. And that is the worst. So the professor, he was a young guy, and he English was not his first language, and he was really new at speaking English, and I was just having so much trouble. And he had an office hours session right before the final exam. So I don't remember the time, but if the final was at 5 p.m., office hours were at like 3:30 to 4:30 or something, right? Like right before. So I went in there to get help. And he's giving me practice problems. I'm getting them all wrong. Every single one I'm getting wrong. And like, I just don't know. I don't know what's going on. So he walks over to me and he writes down another problem on the paper for me to do. And he's just like pointing to it and shaking his head, like, do this problem. And so I did it and I got it wrong. And then he, on the same piece of paper, he did it for me to show me how it was done. He wrote it out, all the steps, and he's looking at me like in confirmation that I see what he did. I understand. And he's like, just do this, just do this. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. So I'm like, I still don't know what's happening though. I go to take the exam, and would you know that he gave me the problem that was like the big problem on the exam? And I had been struggling so hard. It was so clear that I was not going to get it that he gave me the problem, showed me how to do it. And thankfully, I remembered it and I was able to duplicate it. And I don't remember that man's name, but I'm grateful to him each and every day for that experience. And why that's relevant to us right now, though, is that we find ourselves in positions in life all the time where we just have to do something, even though it's not in alignment with our energy, where we're going, and our the our strengths, our power, our natural power as people and as witchy people. When we harness our natural powers, that is when we are in our sweet spot. And it's like everybody can just look at you and say, hey, did you do something different with your hair, or like, did you change something? And you're like, no, I'm just happier. I'm just feeling more confident. I am just more radiant. And though what takes us away from that is when we find these areas that are super against our energy. They're like, so our energy is so resistant. And we can't help, though, but make it be a problem about us, right? Me in that math class, I could easily just say, this is about me. I am a failure. There's no reason this should be so hard for me. I mean, it was so clear to even my professor that this is just not something that I am going to learn in this lifetime. And I am definitely not going to use it once I walk out that door. And that guy just helped me out. And I'm so grateful for it. And so, how can you help yourself out? By looking at your own energy, looking at your own daily life, looking at the rhythms, the experiences that you have, and start to understand where you are very much swimming upstream in your own energy, where you are doing things to just be busy, but they're not meaningful to you, where you're doing things because you've always done them, but they're not meaningful to you. And they're actually disconnecting you from your power. When we can tap into our own inner rhythm, that's when it's easier to see these moments where we're doing things and we just keep doing them and we just keep saying, it's obviously me. I should be better. I should be able to do all of this. I should be able to manage it. It shouldn't be that hard. why am I so frustrated? Why am I so this, that, and the other thing? And that's that witch wound coming up that we talked about. That is that good girl algorithm. That's that sacral curse. And when we look at our own internal energetic rhythms, we can start to get off that hamster wheel and settle our energy, come into our own nervous systems, and stop feeling like square pegs and round holes all the time, which, if you are a witchy person, uh, you probably already often feel like a square peg in a round hole just in the world. So you don't need to be doing it to yourself. That is for sure. You don't need to be doing it to yourself. All right, I'm get some slides to share. So let's do that. And then we're going to do our activity for today. We're going to do a little visualization, all good stuff coming for us. Okay, so you know where we've been. I walked us through that already. And today we are talking about rhythm, finding yours in the chaos. And our visualization today is going to take us over the threshold of timing. So we looked at our energy on Monday, the threshold of seeing; on Tuesday, yesterday, the threshold of trusting, where we looked at what we just know. We looked at the true love's kiss energy. And I've got mine from yesterday. I wrote down the tarot spread. Oh, and the safe versus alive feeling we talked about yesterday as well, in that threshold of trusting, and sort of uh, did that playground visualization where we could just play with what it looks like to be alive in our lives and our energy, and enjoy that time. And so today we're going to talk more about timing. In your worksheets, you have these three circles. You have these images. The one on the left is a representation of the lunar phases, so the moon phases. The one in the center is the Sabbaths, the festivals on the wheel of the year, also representing the seasons. And then the one on the right is a blank one. And this is where we are going to create our own rhythm, sort of circle or cycle after our visualization. But first, let's set the scene by talking more about rhythms. So when we do our threshold of timing visualization, you have some frame of reference for what it is you might be wanting to experience or what you might be looking for. Okay, so the one on the left, if you're looking at the screen, I'll describe it verbally as well, is the lunar phases. Now, the moon, the moon's always the same. Excuse me. The moon doesn't change, but the way we see it changes based on the placement of the Earth, the moon, and the sun. Now we're going back to science class. We started in math class. And now we're going to science class. And so every day, though, the way that we can see the moon in the sky, the way it appears to us, looks a little different. Uh, and that goes on over 28 to 29 days. But we can distill this down to these 8 lunar phases that you see on the screen. And what that takes us through, the first half of the cycle, if you're looking at the graphic and you were to think of a clock, if you started at 12 o'clock at the top of the clock and went clockwise to 3 and then down to 6, that half on the right, that half of the graphic there, that is the growing half of the lunar cycle. So it begins with the new moon at the top at that 12 o'clock position, and then grows every day for that first half of the lunar cycle. We see the moon getting a little brighter, a little bigger in the sky, And that is the energy of action. It's the energy of calling in. It's the energy of growth. You'll hear this referred to as the waxing moon phases or the waxing lunar phases. So the first half of the cycle, that's that right half of the graphic. If you were to cut it in half, vertically, that is our growing. It's our doing energy. We want to create during that time. Well, at the bottom of the graphic, you have the full moon. It's all the way at the bottom. That would be in the 6 o'clock position on a clock. And if we think about creation and how creation is, we can think of actual bringing life earthside, whether it's with animals or people. There's a point of there's a point of inception and then or conception rather, and then everything grows. And then there's like the big burst of of energy where the thing is born, right? And that's kind of the full moon. But what happens with birth and with creation is there is also a release. What was is no longer the same. What was is no longer the same. And you're right, Jen, it does go counterclockwise. I know the moon ins and outs can totally turn everybody upside down. We try just to keep it simple. Um, and then we have that moment of birth. And with the full moon, we are releasing, literally letting it all out. And with that, we're releasing, we're letting go. We're going to wait and just sort of see what happens. But that's also the ultimate moment of manifestation. So when we have that full moon energy, it is truly release and creation at once. And I think that's what a lot of people miss about the full moon on social media posts and just talking about the moon in general. And think about, the bedroom activities, if you will, or whatever room those activities occur in. The moment, the heightened moment, the climatic moment of our private, intimate experiences is both a manifestation and a release moment. It's like that with birth. It's like that with ideas. If you're sewing a dress, there is clutch your pearls, people. If you're sewing a dress, for example, then you would have this moment where the creation has it's come to its completion, and now you're letting your hands go of the activity, right? Like what's on the other side. So everything is that way. I will answer the question about the moon colors. You will see them in different ways. And actually, in our planner, we have the dark moon as the new moon. So here's the trick for you, though, because there's not one right way. It's really personal preference. If you look at the top of the graphic and you see the two crescents, how they're facing the moon like Mickey Mouse ears, that's how I look at them. If they're facing the moon like Mickey Mouse ears, the moon in the center is a new moon. If on the bottom, the crescents are facing out, much like you would see with a triple goddess symbol, the triple goddess on the bottom, that's a full moon. So when they are facing in, like Mickey Mouse ears, whether it's dark or light or whatever, the crescents facing in, they are facing into a new moon. So Mickey Mouse ears, new moon, or I guess Dumbo ears because they hang low. um, is a new moon. And then crescents facing out like a triple goddess or those horns, that is a full moon. Always there. And the colored in versus not is entirely personal preference. Entirely personal preference. All right. So the second half of the lunar cycle, I just talked about how it gets started. So if the new moon is that conception energy where like the idea is coming together, then the bottom, the 6 o'clock spot, that full moon energy, that is the release. And for the second half of the lunar cycle, you're resetting, you're recalibrating, you're reflecting. It's got more of a rest, sort of reorient energy to it, right? A resting and reorienting energy to it. Now, throughout this whole process of the lunar phases, of course, the moon is a guide. The moon is just in the sky doing its thing. And though this is how we can apply the metaphysical lessons of cyclical living based on these moon phases for us. And this is rooted often in, pre modern timekeeping, how folks would mark the passage of time from the new moon to the full moon and then all the way back again, right? All the way back again. So we're releasing in that second half of the lunar cycle. When you look at the middle graphic, it's very similar. We have positioned it at the top of the graphic. You have Yule, then Imbolc, then Ostara. Yule is the shortest day of the year. Ostara is the spring equinox. Then you've got Beltane and Letha, which is the longest day of the year. So much like I just described with the lunar phases, we see that with our solar season as well. The solar wheel as well. We start with the shortest day of the year, just like the new moon is dark in the sky. We can't see it with the naked eye. The 4 p.m. sunset on Yule is a killer to my soul. But alas, it's all part of the process, all part of the season. And from that day, the days slowly and surely get longer and longer and longer until you reach the longest day of the year in June. And as soon as that day comes around June 21st, the days get shorter and shorter and shorter again. We have that culminating moment, as I described with the full moon, and then we get into that reflection half of the year. Now, we know as people that we do not spend from June 21st till December 21st relaxing. I would argue, and for many of you, it's probably similar, come May 1st, I bet the more relaxing months are really like, probably January 1st till May 1st. If you had relaxing months, that's more of you're inside more, you're doing less. But once May hits, we've got graduations and weddings, and we've got parties, and we've got all of this stuff, right? And then holidays come autumn, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. So what this is a really great example of how we don't have the capacity in our modern lives to live within the seasonal rhythms fully, right? Like none of us can just take this time right now. It's Samhain. This is where we're going into like really the depths of our soul, the depths of the stories that made us who we are. This should be like very quiet internal time all the way through like the Christmas holiday time, right? But none of us can just sit around and be in the darkness at home. And so when we feel resistance and we look at the witch wound and we look at worthiness, there is an element of all of us fighting against rhythm all the time. So how do we deal with that? How do we come back to some sense of rhythm when we really don't often have the opportunity to live in the rhythm that's provided to us? Well, firstly, we can pause and honor the Sabbaths. We can pause and honor the new moon and full moon. And that at least helps us stay connected to the energies of the season and gives us the opportunity to check in with ourselves and say, hey, this is Samhain. This is a dark time. It's an internal reflection time. It's time to connect with, all that I can't see, the ancestors, anything that's come before me. And it gives us that moment to tap into the energies and slow ourselves down. With the new moon and the full moon, the same thing. It gives us an opportunity to stop, reorient, and reflect. And though we can also look at our own daily energies and create our own rhythm and understand what our rhythm is. So when you're in your day-to-day life and you find that it's just not possible to be living in alignment with the seasonal energy or the lunar energy, you have this tool to come back to. You have this tool to come back to. All right. So we are going to do our threshold of timing visualization. And then we are going to create our own. Everyone here, I'll invite you and I'll walk you through it to create your own energetic circle. All right. Let's stop sharing the screen and let's get ready here. All right. If you're going to participate here today, I invite you, like the past few days, to put your hands on your lap or on your heart and lower belly or hands in receiving position. If you're working, folding laundry, commuting and listening in, whatever that is, you can keep doing that. That's totally okay. I'll hold the space for everybody here or anybody catching this later on the replay. But for now, choose your poison. Close your eyes. Feel your body. Notice how your body moves as you breathe. Allow your body to sink fully into your current place here on this earthly plane. Know that we are all together energetically. Those with more capacity to hold possibility and vision for the future. Overflow some of your energy for those who could use some today. Imagine or know or picture with your imagination or words in your mind yourself standing on a blank surface. This blank surface will fill with your own energetic rhythm. With the threshold of seeing, you practice seeing your energy. The threshold of trusting, you practiced playing with energy and possibilities. And today, you will cross the threshold of timing, where you will feel empowered to create a representation of your energetic rhythm. On this blank surface, allow the vision or the knowing or the thoughts, consciously or unconsciously created, the thought, the knowing, the vision of your daily life. It appears in front of you, it appears around you. Maybe all at once, maybe it flips by scene by scene. Maybe it's just a generalized knowing, an overarching sort of feeling, a word, a color, however it is for you is exactly the way it should be. In this experience, how does your body feel right now? How does your energy feel right now? There's no good or bad here. It's all only information. Let the vision, the knowing, the thoughts, the words, the experience of the last time or a time when you felt so energized. You weren't just caffeinated. You felt like you could go on and on and on, and it felt so good. Let now let the vision of the last time or a time that you were so engrossed in an activity that you lost track of time. How does that feel in your energy and in your body? This information allows you to cross the threshold of timing, recognizing the energetic feelings in your body and in your soul, the way it all speaks to you from the inside out, helps you to identify your creation energy times and your releasing energy times. Let any remaining thoughts, visions, feelings drift away. You got exactly what you needed here today. It's all information. Nothing is right or wrong. And it doesn't mean anything about you. Become aware of your body. Feel your chest rising and falling, or your belly or your thighs, however your hands are. Notice your body. And when you are ready, open your eyes and come back. Come back to me. Okay. So I know that it's probably a pretty even split. People who could actually think of something for all of those suggestions, all of those prompts, the three that we did, probably half of you right away could grab something. And the other half were like, I don't know. I don't know at all. I can't remember when I felt a certain way. I don't know what my life looks like day to day. And I don't know how any of it feels. Probably a half and half situation if I had to guess, or like a 60-40. What I invite you to do with this experience, with this energy that you just played with and looked at here, just like I showed you, and I can put it back up on the screen, but I do want to give you some ideas. Actually, I'm going to need some more paper. I would love for you to, on your worksheets or on a piece of paper, draw a big circle. Okay, so I've got mine here. I recycle my paper. I've got mine from yesterday. I did a tarot spread with mine. And what I want you to do is think about the feeling for you of setting the tone. I want you to think about the feeling where you've got the most heightened energy and you can kind of just keep going and going and going. I want you to think about that energy of like it feels so good kind of energy. And then that the thing that drained you the most. Now, I'm going to show you a couple ways to do this. What I would love for you to do is sort of map your typical. Now, I know we always have a lot of nurses in the house who work 12-hour shifts. People that are like, I do not have a typical day. So do your best to pick what might be a typical day or choose a type of day. But consider for you, where would be your new moon or your Yule energy? So that's where you are really setting the tone, planting the seed, that moment of conception in your daily life. This is going to be different for different people. For me, that time is actually in the evening before I go to bed. I get up and I hit the ground running. That is my that energy of when can I just keep going and I can do anything at all and nothing can stop me. For me, that's in the morning. So, for me, I would put on here my I go to bed early. So like 8 p.m., I'm setting up the day through the time I wake up, which is also very early. Y'all, I was out of bed at 3:30 this morning, but we're going to write till 4 a.m. because that is my goal to sleep too. And that would be my sort of new moon winter energy. So I'm going to write that in here. And that's that Yule. And for some people, this might be the morning that you get up. Maybe you're like at night, you can't think about anything. And what I do in that new moon winter energy, I go to bed like 9:30, but I always think about the next day. So every night before I go to bed, I get any work stuff together that I need for the morning. I get my clothes together for the day before. Anything with my kids, I make sure they know what they're doing in the morning. I get life right for the next day, and then I go to bed. And so I'm planting that intention. And then for me, I have the highest state of energy. That is that spring energy. It's the 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock on a clock. Spring energy, like first quarter moon energy. I have that burst of energy from about 4 a.m. till, if I'm lucky, 1 p.m. So 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. then is my like, I can just keep throwing it at me. I'm good. I'm good. Give me more. Give me more. Give me more. And then right around that 1 o'clock time period is usually when, if we think of like the climatic moment where the thing comes to fruition, and then you also are just letting it go, with the dress example, or the intimate times example, or the full moon release and manifestation energy example. So for me, like 1 p.m. is sort of where if something's not been started for the day, it's probably not getting started. And that is my like 1 p.m. till probably like 5 p.m. And in there, that's like my full moon, letting go, closing loops, sort of, the highlight time is gone. And then for me, that 5 then to 8 is really that resting time. And I'll say resetting, not necessarily resting, but sometimes I'll like exercise, sometimes I will rest, I'll reflect, uh, whatever that is. And of course, I do have a family, so sometimes I'm at dinner with my grandparents or taking my kids to taekwondo. But that is not a time that I am like focused on production. Like that's not happening after that time of day. So what we can do is when you look at your rhythm, and yours could be entirely different, but when you are choosing what to do during different times of your day, how can you take the medicine of the moon, which is the rhythm, the medicine even of the sun is that solar, longer year rhythm. Here's mine. I changed what I was writing partway through. Uh, but when you feel like you are just in that witch wound energy, and you're making decisions to just keep people happy, or you are draining energy, or like our example on Monday, our example from Monday, where do we go? There we are, where your energy, I had you draw your energy map, and you feel like your energy is being siphoned away from you, and it's being pulled out, and it's just being taken everywhere. We have the new moon and the full moon to sort of recalibrate, to stop, to say, what is my intention, or what do I need to release? We have that in the big seasonal wheel. And that can help us too to check in with our own energetic rhythms. And this is one of the amazing ways that you can actually reclaim your season of the witch. You can reclaim your midlife season. You can reclaim your power, and you can help heal that witch wound. Because while we all live lives that make it so we don't get to dictate all of our own time, I have to take my grandparents to appointments. I got to take my kids places. I have meetings that are with people in other time zones. And so I have to do things when I don't want to do them sometimes. In general, when we can try to align the best we can to your own inner rhythm, This will help you to feel less like you are being responsive, like you are shutting down your own voice again and again and again, like you have lost yourself in the daily monotony of life, like you are just doing extra emotional labor for people, and you're giving, and also helps you to have clear communication with those in your life as you are doing the work of healing your own witch wound, finding belonging in your life without changing who you are or bending over backwards for things, or just, cultivating more power, or maybe setting up to be a great role model for folks in your life that are could use a great role model, and role modeling boundaries and energetic management. And everybody's happier when they're utilizing an energetic management system as opposed to a time management system. And so this is one of the ways that you can look at rhythm in your life. And of course it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect. I'm a witch through and through, been living that witch life for years and years and years and years and years. And it's so much so that it's my actual job. And there are still times when it's like 3 days after the new moon that I sit down to do my intentions, because that is just how it shook out for me. That's just the time that I had. That's how the universe played the cards this cycle. And so it's never going to be perfect. But again, it acts as this wonderful guiding light to help you understand why you might feel like me in my math class, that I just can't do it right. I just can't get it right. Well, sometimes you need some support. My teacher supported me by giving me the answer, and you can support yourself by having an understanding of your energy. Now, for some of you too, dependent on different, oh gosh, I can't draw a circle either, so don't put me in art class. Dependent on different, whether it's just the way life is or your energy. I did my circle in sort of a 4-part even square here. But, my 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. and 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. chunks of time are a lot longer than my 5 to 8 p.m. reset time. So some of you, it might look completely different, your circle, right, than mine does. And also, this can be very, as I do this in real time, with an awareness that we're going over time. And one of our values is time intentionality. But I feel like I should do this here. I am a person who often feels very like, man, if only I need like a sleep retreat or something, I don't know what I need. I need something like that. But if I am looking at my actual time, the way that I laid it out here, hold please. And I still don't know if this is right, but I'm drawing it out here. 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. 5 to 8 p.m. And then this was 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. I just answered a lot of my own questions here, because if I'm doing my pie chart, my resting resetting time is the smallest 5 to 8. It's 3 hours. That's the smallest chunk of time on my pie chart here. And when we look at the lessons from seasonality, looking at seasonality in nature, it's all evenly distributed. My rest time, not my sleep time, and like I said, I fell asleep last night, I think at 9:40, and I was out of bed at 3:30 this morning. So that is not even this this whole time here. This time is so little. It's so little in the grand scheme of all the energy that can be put out there in the world. So when you're looking at energy and you're looking at creating energy, to be a witch is to create energy, not respond to it. To create energy, not respond to it. So we can look at this, your own rhythm, and even say, wow, what is my rhythm creating? Nothing good for me right now. So I hope some of you have that more, more in alignment than I do at this moment in time. But we can really look at this, right? Really look at your own rhythm. So your job today, your activity is to rough outline. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Whatever is good. But visualize, put down your energy rhythm on your own cyclical wheel. And as typical as you can get, which I know is not easy for everybody, And to this point in time, you've got your energy map, you have whatever work you chose to do yesterday with sort of our 3 areas that we covered, and now you've got this rhythm exploration here. And we can really see through this where our energy is going, what is siphoning our energy away, and how we can reclaim it, start to heal some of that witch wound within ourselves, reclaim our season. We are season keepers as women. We got to keep it for ourselves as well. Keep it for ourselves as well. All right. So there you have it. There we have it. That is your activity today to keep working on and practice in some way. Whatever works for you. Your word of the day is powerful. I think it's powerful. I'm pretty sure it's powerful. I seem to have lost the piece of paper that my second page of notes for today have gone missing. Powerful. Yes, there they are. Your word for today is powerful. All right. It's a good thing I don't need my notes because I couldn't find that. Powerful is the word of the day. So you will have, you already have from the past 2 days access to the link to type that in. Of course, we'll give it with the replay, remind you of it today as well. And there you go. What happens after tomorrow when you put in the 4th word on Thursday, it will unlock a door, a virtual door, where you'll answer a few questions, and then based on your answers, one of 3 meditations will be delivered to you. And so you'll get sort of choose your own adventure based on the answers you provide. All right. Well, that is it for today. Remember, this week we do have our annual registration for our Enchanted Journey membership open, and I'll tell you more about that as we continue on our journey and on our week. But if you're looking for rhythm, you're looking for connection, you're looking for practice, not necessarily so much like you want the accountability in practice. You want ways to practice and flex your magic. Definitely check it out. And we've got a great lineup starting Monday, actually, a really great lineup all the way through next October happening. We're excited for it, proud of it. And we have an in-person event in Salem, Massachusetts. So those of you that were like, Salem, we're coming. We've got a TSE event happening in Salem, starting it's in April. And you can find that information out there as well. And Crystal, that's a good question, Crystal. I don't know the answer to that. So I think we leave the replays up though through the month. And so I think you should still be able to put in your answers, Crystal. And of course, if you miss anything, have any tech problems, no Enchanted Sister left behind, always reach out, let us know, and we will make sure to take care of you on that, Crystal. No problem. Enjoy your festival. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Happy Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time, same place, and stay magic. Bye.